Alright guys, welcome to the 3 Points Auto Works location. This is my so-called shop area here. I got basically everything I need except for ideal power situation here, which is why there's a generator that's right here. So this is my area. I'm going to be pretty much in here every single day trying to film something, get something to look decent, put it together and put it out there. The task at hand today for this piece of crap car is going to be removing all of the seam seal from like this location, all of this stuff in here, all of this, and then just try to grind off any like dirtier or cracked paint, so I can just make sure that when I paint everything and re-undercoat everything, it's not going to rust out from underneath me. The reason I'm having to do all of this was because I purchased this car from a dealership for a price that you would pay for a regular running, driving, good working FD RX7. I drive home, smells like coolant. I drive it every once in a while, fix some coolant leaks, and then I take it to a car meet, which I saw a lot of people at, and got to take a lot of cool pictures of my car there, so that was nice that I got to do that. But the motor blew up that day. Coolant seal decided to give out, so the motor came out, and now we are in this position here. I removed the motor, and then I realized that it was an accident, a decent one. This whole section right here where the ABS system sits was completely like wrinkled up, messed up, rusted to crap. The fender looked all good and everything, but then there's areas like right here that are rusting. There's just not very well done seam seal up here and right here, and like along the lines of the fender here. So I'm going to grind everything off, coat it up, and make it look good. Let's get at it. Alright guys, before we get into it, I'm going to just explain to you some of the damage, what I'm going to be tackling today, and some of the stuff that I've already fixed that I haven't filmed yet. So I painted the engine bay this bronze color here with some super excellent spray paint. Actually, let me show you that real fast. That is actually not that. This wonderful stuff right here. 2-in-1. Use this right here. This helps you get rid of your runs or any like imperfections. I don't really have any issues with, what do you call it, orange peel or anything like that because of this paint. So that's cool. If you want to spend less money on painting your engine bay, go with this stuff. But anyway, we got this painted up here, makes it look decent, and then here's the issues that we have. So I filled this spot with seam seal already, but I didn't paint underneath it, so I have to scrape all of this seam seal off here. I did the same thing here. I need to scrape all of this seam seal off because I didn't paint underneath it. Redo it. This, I didn't touch any of this here. So all of this seam seal, all this delicious stuff here needs to get grinded down to see what's underneath that. Got to remove the hood latch, or not the hood latch, the hood hinge, so I can get underneath there and start attacking this area here. Start scraping off all of this seam seal off of this. Possibly cut that off and do it better. We'll figure it out though. Worst or best case scenario, cut it off. Worst case scenario, just grind it and paint over it. All of this stuff that's down here, I've already painted this area here and there's no seam seal on any of this, but I'm just going to go over this whole little piece of metal here on the edges just to make sure that there's no rust coming in there. Then I seam sealed all down the end of this in here, and then here's where we get to the fun stuff and where my fancy $2 flashlight comes into play. So as you can see, this is not a factory. I have a wrinkly firewall, which is nice. My seam here where the pinch welds are and where the two panels meet is nice and wrinkled up like a piece of bacon. I got it all welded up here. Me and my girlfriend attacked this. They're not the most beautiful welds in the world, but for what it is and where it's at, it's overkill. So all of this was the initial damage. I had to cut all of that out, make new panels, weld everything in. So now we're good there. So where I'm at now is the engine bay is looking good. That part is welded up looking good. Now I just have to focus on this little spot, this little spot, this little spot, that little spot, and recoating this wheel well here. Let's jump to the time lapse.
Compliments of the chef.
Alright, so I got everything ground down, all the seam seals ground off. You can see in this little spot, that little spot, all around here, on there, all that right there, all that right there. It's looking good. Gotta wait for this paint to dry and then do a couple more layers just to make sure that there's nothing still rusting underneath it, and make sure it's got a good layer of paint, and then seam seal over that, and then we're moving. Next up, seam seal. So I decided to change directions here. I decided to grind way more of this off and get the hood latch, or the hood, or whatever the hell you call it. Grind everything all off here, and then I'm just gonna prime everything in this area, and then undercoat and seam seal everything. So let's get to that. So this is what everything is looking like after the first coat here. Got everything all done up nice and coated real nice and everything. Got all the old seam seal out of all the stubborn spots so I can make sure it's not rusting. Got everything there. This was a huge issue spot with all of this stuff, but now got all the metal pushed down onto this other piece now, so we can seam seal that up, make that look nice. Got all that going, and then I got all of this down here all painted up. The most exciting part is all of this. That used to be a giant hole over there. It's all welded up now. These are probably the worst welds you guys have ever seen, but that's just because I did them. And they don't matter because my girlfriend did the ones on the inside. Good enough. So, this is everything here. I just need to start moving on to seam seal all of the edges. Alright guys, so that was pretty short-lived. Ran out of seam seal within like the first couple lines that I was trying to do. So this is what we got so far. We got all of this in this little corner here. All of that. And then this right there is not perfect, but I'm out of seam seal. So we will pick up where we left off tomorrow, and I will get the rest of everything here and everything up here. Alright guys, so you have a good night. I'll catch you tomorrow.